streaming, YouTube streaming, and via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, Buddha's Jati Samran, and Alay Vigyan. I had given you the incident when a woman professor came to Osho and she insisted to go into Jati Samran, and it is like the dam which is the storehouse of the water. It breaks open its bank, or a river breaks open its bank, there is a flood. So there is memory of the past events stored in that part. When it floods, it creates a chaos. So Alay Vigyan, to explain that when all of a sudden your memories are flooded, life becomes a chaos. You are following very religious and peaceful life in this. All of a sudden, past memories explode and you realize what you were. There will be a complete chaos. Or it happens sometimes in Trinidad. We know that this particular person is very moral and this and that, and so all of a sudden you come to know of his relationships, how many children he has. So it creates a chaos in the family. So this is part of Buddhism. Is during the time of Buddha, it was just Buddhism. Afterwards, when an awakened one passes away or is no more, people who are of the baser minds, they start their own business. Like somebody catch hold of the tail of the elephant and describes the elephant as tail. Someone gets hold of the trunk, and the way the trunk moves, based on that, describes the elephant. So 3 branches of Buddhism came: Mahayana Buddhism, Hinayana Buddhism, and Theravada Buddhism. So Alay Vigyan is referred to as a storehouse of consciousness, and this phrase is used in Mahayana Buddhism. Mahayana means the bigger. The short definition of Alay Vigyan is a storehouse consciousness, is that it is the container of all sort of past experiences and karmic actions. You can call it in the modern terminology as Pandora's box. When it opens, all kind of creatures come out. Whether it really exists or not, I do not know. But I know the phrase is used, Pandora's box, to refer to the things which you are putting under the carpet. The Sanskrit word alay means all ground, which suggests a foundation or basis. Seed is the foundation of the tree and the fruit. It is often translated as substratum or storehouse, or the seed. Vigyan, I gave you the meaning of alay, means the storehouse, the substratum, the seed, out of which the tree, the fruits, everything comes into existence. Vigyan refers to awareness, not science. Awareness or consciousness, and it is the fifth of the five skandhas, five aspects of Buddhism. Although it is often translated as mind, but really it is not the mind in the usual sense of English word. Mental functions are reasoning, reorganizing, forming opinions, are the jobs of other skandha, not what Vigyan refers to. Alay Vigyan therefore refers to a substratum of consciousness. Is this something like the Western psychology calls as the subconscious? In a way you can say, but not exactly, but like the subconscious. Not exactly, but like subconscious, Alay Vigyan is the part of the mind that stores things out of our conscious awareness. You wake up, and during the waking state, many things are performed by you. Some of them attains to fulfillment. Those that remain incomplete are left for the next day to complete. You are working in an office, you are working on a project, certain aspects you finish for the day, so they go into the separate file, that is finished files. You do not need them immediately because you have finished working on that. There are certain files that remain incomplete. Next day when you come, you have to start up that again. So a part of our conscious life goes into a storehouse that stores things outside the conscious mind. It means incomplete files. You have a relationship to finish, you did not. Because you find it was difficult to finish this file, so that normally happens. The files which are difficult to deal with, we put them aside or overlook them and finish only the work which is very simple and easy to perform. All that you consider difficult, but somehow or the other, one day you have to come to complete these. So these form the, according to modern psychology, subconscious, but according to Buddha, it is called Alay Vigyan. It is part of the mind that stores things out of our conscious awareness. Alay Vigyan, it was proposed or explained about 15 centuries before Freud was born. Freud, who introduced the term subconscious mind. Alay Vigyan, there are 8 levels of consciousness. Alay Vigyan is the 8th level of consciousness. This is in Mahayana philosophy that is primarily concerned with the nature of experience. In this context, Vigyan refers to awareness that interacts a sense faculty with sense objects. It is the awareness that connects an eye to sight and an ear to the sound, because through the ears you hear the sound and through eyes you see the sight. It is this Alay Vigyan is the foundation or the basis of all consciousness, and it contains impressions of all our past actions. These form the seeds. You had a relationship. We did not work, you abandoned it, but the memories remain there. And these memories keep on coming and surfacing again and again. That creates disturbance in your new life, new relationship. And it is important that all these things have to be erased. If you are in a classroom, there is a blackboard or the whiteboard, whatever may be the situation. The lecturer comes and he writes notes on the blackboard or the whiteboard, and if he does not clean the board or class is finished, the teacher of mathematics has done certain problems on it, and the next professor of physics comes, and instead of cleaning the board, he starts writing on it. This will create confusion. This is what happens with the human life. When you were in a particular relationship, many things were written on the board. Means consciousness. The place where things are written or stored. On the blackboard, things are stored for the students to take the notes, and when all the students have taken the notes, then it is needed to be wiped out. Whatever was the purpose of that, once you have understood, you have to wipe it out and keep it clean for the next set of instructions. So if the professor of physics does not clean the screen, this board, before he starts talking about the points of optics or any other thing that will create a confusion. This is what your life is. The board that contained, on which all about the first lecture or relationship was written, was not wiped out, and you entered into another. So Alay Vigyan refers to the awareness that interacts a sense faculty with a sense object. Sense faculty and sense object. What is sense faculty? Eyes. What is sense object for this faculty is sight. What is the sense faculty? Ears. The object of that is sound. The ears hear the sound, ears does not see. Eyes do not hear, eyes see. They sight. Sight is the object and eyes is the sense faculty. It is the awareness that connects a faculty to the sight. Eye to sight, ears to sound. It is the foundation. Alay Vigyan is the foundation or the basis of all consciousness, and it contains the impressions of all our past actions. These impressions or sanskar. Sanskar is the Hindi word for impressions, form the seed or the seeds. Beej is a Hindi word for seeds, form the beej or seeds, and from these seeds grow our thoughts, opinions, desires, and attachment. You had a relationship, the impressions of these, the sanskar becomes the seed of this. Based on that, although you have entered into new relationship, new site, but the seeds that you have planted, you have not removed the seeds from the soil of your consciousness, they will continue to grow. And when they grow, it is like you are planting a crop, but the weeds keep on growing in between. So these seeds of the past impressions continue to grow like weeds, and in that you will not be able to see the seeds of the new crop that you are starting now. Alay Vigyan is to sort out. That is why when a crop is planted, that is what crop. So after some time, the weeds grow in between. So we have to remove the weeds or the grass. Even when you are doing the gardening, you are along with the actual plants, weeds grow on their own. They don't need any seed. Their seeds are there in the soil. So they grow. You go and clean up the garden, the flower bed, remove all the grass, because what they do, they start taking away the nourishment which is meant for the plant, which is meant for the rose plant that you have planted. But the weeds, the grass that is growing all around is taking some of that nourishment, and the flowers will not get. So every day, and they keep on growing, mushrooming on a day-to-day basis. You have to do cleaning continuously. So like these impressions or sanskars are like the weeds that grow between the plants that you are planning to plant now. You are going to create a rose bed, but along the rose bed, the seeds, the weed that is seeds of which is already there in the soil, they keep on mushrooming. From these seeds, now when it comes to Alay Vigyan, the sanskars, comes thoughts. A particular circumstance or situation comes with this present spouse. Immediately these weeds from the past continues in the form of thoughts, opinion, desires, and attachments grow. The Alay Vigyan forms the basis of our personalities as well. These seeds are also identified as the seeds of karma. Karma is created primarily as our intentions and acting on our intentions with thoughts, words, and deeds. Karma is created. an impression is created. You are doing some cooking. This is an action that you are performing. There are certain experiences that comes in the process of cooking. Your intention is to do the cooking and prepare a dish, but the experiences comes in. So these experiences will act as our thoughts or words or deeds for the next time. The karma thus created is set to reside in our subconscious. While you are cooking a particular dish or you are entering into a certain relationship, certain thoughts comes, they go into your subconscious. These remain as seed in your subconscious from the past relationship. You start a new relationship, it surfaces at times. That is why when you are interacting with the person, sometimes a situation comes, and at that time we utter those words which were not called for by the situation at that time. It is the impression of the past actions, past impressions or relationship that have surfaced at that time. The karma or the actions or impressions set to reside in our subconscious or the storehouse of consciousness, which Buddha calls it Alay Vigyan, until it ripens or until these are eliminated, these remain there. The grass grows, it ripens, unless you remove from the seed. There are certain kind of grass. When you are planting, it is said when we were planting the garden, we were told that this particular grass has its roots which is very complicated. It kills all other weeds. So that is why this particular kind of grass is supposed to be planted. Otherwise, the weeds grow so fast that it will kill the grass that you are planting for the lawn. The several schools of Buddhism offer a range of practices and approaches to eliminate the harmful karmas, such as performing meritorious acts or cultivating the bodhi awareness. Alay Vigyan is then I am not going into the methodology right now. It is important to understand first Alay Vigyan. Alay Vigyan is then the repository of everything that is us, that makes you what you are, sum total of the past impressions, both harmful and beneficial. It is important not to think of Alay Vigyan as a kind of self. However, it is more like the collection of attributes we mistake for self. And like the subconscious mind proposed by the modern psychology, the contents of the storehouse consciousness, the contents of storehouse consciousness shapes your actions and the way we experience our lives. So sometimes you are in the company of an awakened one, light is thrown, all of a sudden something happens to you and you say that, I don't know, I was thrown into the past memories. The seed even influences how we perceive ourselves and everything else. The seeds of the grass, the weeds that is there in the soil, in the subconscious of the soil, you have not seen it. Although you have prepared the soil to plant the grass, the lawn grass. The grass is planted. It is being watered so that fertilizer and the water content will not only allow the lawn grass to grow but also the weeds to grow. The seed even influences, just as the seeds that are there in the subconscious of the soil, they affect the growth of the lawn, how we perceive ourselves and everything else, which the Buddhist scholar Thich Nhat Hanh wrote in the heart of the Buddha's teachings in 1998, the source of our perception, our ways of seeing, lies in the storehouse consciousness. If 10 people look at a cloud, there will be 10 different perceptions of it. Whether it is perceived as a dog, a hammer, or a coat depends on our mind. Now, you are looking at the clouds. Very simple. So when you are looking at the cloud, depending at the moment of thought, your impressions at the moment of thought expression, you will describe it. Just as the story of the 6 blind men went to study the elephant. Sometimes you are traveling in a plane and out of the window you look at the cloud and you say, look, there is Ganesh sitting there. Because you are a Hindu mind. Someone say, look, I am seeing the Jesus. A Christian mind will say, but Muslim mind will not say anything because there is no image of Holy Prophet. There is no image of whose. So someone sees the dog in the cloud, someone sees an elephant, someone sees this and that. So based on that, the memories that surface at the moment, sometimes you are sad, sometimes you are very happy. I don't know what happened tonight, I just felt sad. What was the cause? What had happened? Our memories, our anger, our perceptions carry with them all the errors of subjectivity. It is said in Yogacharya that Vigyan awareness is real, but the objects of awareness are not. The eyes are real, but the object, the sight that eyes see is not real. The ears, the faculty is real, but the sound that ears hear is not real. The sound, like you are looking at the cloud, 10 people looking at the cloud, one sees the elephant, the other sees the dog, third one sees Ganesh, next one sees Shiva. So those are not real. None of these things are there in the cloud. None of these images that each of the people who is looking at the clouds is seen describing the clouds like that, or the different people who are looking at the elephant described differently are not there. Elephant is not a snake, elephant is not a rope. Elephant is subtotal of everything, and when you look at the elephant, it is neither the rope is there, rope is imaginary, the snake is imaginary, the pillar is imaginary. Those who got hold of the elephant's foot said it is like a pillar. Those who got hold of the tail, it is like a rope. One who got hold of the trunk, it is like a snake, because the way the trunk moves. So these will vanish immediately the moment you come into the reality that elephant is. The moment your eyes open, if somehow or the other the eyes of those blind people whose vision is lost, they get their vision, they will say it is neither the rope nor the snake nor the pillar, it is just one thing, all that vanish. So the moment the light comes to you, all those impressions between the sense organ and the object that the sense organ is connected with vanish. And that is what the entire science of Alay Vigyan is. The real is, but the objects of awareness are not. This does not mean that nothing exists, but that nothing exists as we perceive it. It does not mean the elephant does not, the dog does not exist, or the rope does not exist, but how you connect a particular part of the elephant as a snake or rope or pillar, or a particular segment of the sky as dog, does not exist. Our impressions of reality are the creation of the Vigyan or consciousness available at the moment of thought expression. If you understand this clearly, as far as I am concerned, I am explaining it in a very illicit manner. In particular Alay Vigyan, it is known as understanding this is the beginning of wisdom. The moment your eyes open, the one who saw the elephant as a snake, he gets a vision, he realizes that the snake that he described elephant as is no more. The one who described as a rope, the rope is no more. The one who described it as pillar, that pillar is no more. This understanding forms the part of Alay Vigyan. This is opening, this is the beginning of the wisdom. Alay Vigyan is all-encompassing foundation of consciousness that forms the base consciousness or causal consciousness. According to traditional interpretations, the other 7 consciousness are evolving or transforming consciousness, originating in base consciousness. So what was the base consciousness? Was blind. You were blind to the vision. Out of that, different things evolved. As the storehouse consciousness accumulates potential energies as seeds or the mental impressions or the physical forms, manifestations of one's existence. It is the storehouse consciousness which induces rebirth, causing the origination of new existence. Buddha has called this as Alay Vigyan. So one impression is there that a spouse is no more. But had that seed gone, whatever impressions you have gathered in that particular relationship, I am taking again and again the example of your spouse because this you have gone through. And despite 25 years of speaking on that, we do not pay attention to this. So that seed, that impression is there. That impression, you feel that 6 months that you are no more in a new relationship is gone, vanished. But for 6 months the soil remained unfertilized, underutilized. There was no fertilizer, there was no watering. But the moment you start preparing for the next plantation, you prepare the process is that you fertilize it first, you prepare it, mowing this and that you have done, you water it. Those things that you thought that had vanished start surfacing again. A new crop is beginning to be planted as new relationship. All those impressions that have been hidden in the subconscious start mushrooming. Buddha called this Alay Vigyan. And he calls it there exists a certain corner in our mind. This Adi Shankar says, when he was wandering at the age of 5 in the Himalayan mountain in search of a master, and he met the master. He asked him, "Who are you?" Shankar did not say like an idiot that I am Dr. So and so. He says, Manobuddha ahankar chittani naham. Man, I am neither the mind, nor buddhi, intellect, nor the storehouse of the memory, nor conscious ego sense, the identity that I am identified. If I ask you, who are you? You will say, I am, without any hesitation, I am Mr. X. Do you say ever that I am known as this? Then if you are, I am doctor, specialized in this. And so you are this is the ego sense. You are identified with all these things. So Shankar says, Mano Buddhi Ahankar Chittani Naham. I am neither the mind nor the intellect nor the identity. Your identity is, I am Muslim. I am a Hindu. I am a Christian. That means they are following a certain practices, certain way of life. A Muslim who does not follow the 5 obligations of Islam is not a Muslim. Can there be a Muslim who does not offer 5 times of namaz, or who follows the ritual of zakat, or sometimes maybe he may not have gone for ziyarat? He always have that, I have to go for ziyarat, for hajj. Then fasting. Without these, you are not a Muslim. Without But in Hindu way, you can be a Hindu Sanatani even if you does not believe in Shankar, Krishna, Ram, Buddha or anybody else. Because basically 10 different qualities have been propounded. Once you have these qualities, you are Sanatani, eternal. Sanatan means that which always is, consciousness is always is. There are 10 qualities. All these I have tried to encompass in the work, the Sanatan Dharma. You can be an atheist, but you can be Sanatani. But you cannot be an atheist and a Hindu. Hindu means either you are believing in Ram or Krishna or Shiva. You are either Shaivite or you are Vaishnavite, follower of Vishnu or Shiva. In Islam, Hazrat Ali belonged to Shia. So let us not go into, without following the 5 rituals, one cannot be following the rituals prescribed by a particular religion that you belong to. You cannot be called that. So Alay Vigyan means in the storehouse. Nobody says that I am consciousness. The Sanatan Dharma, the scripture says, Ishopanishad says, Ishavasya sarvam yat kinch jagatyam jagat Tena tyaktena bhunjitha magradha kashyashvidhanam. The consciousness is all around. I am consciousness. Buddha has called this Alay Vigyan. There exists a corner in the mind, while Buddha has named it as Alay Vigyan. I will go into this again tomorrow because this needs to be understood very clearly. Without knowing this, you will not be able to continue in the journey of transformation. So until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.